Late yesterday, an updated indictment was handed down against former President Donald Trump, including new counts of obstruction and willful retention of national defense information. This afternoon, I spoke with our White House correspondent, John Decker, to get more details. So, John, you're a lawyer. Walk us through this new indictment handed to the former president and why this could heighten Trump's legal peril.
This broadens that 37-count indictment that was already brought against Donald Trump related to those classified documents that were found in his possession at his home at Mar-a-Lago in August of last year by the FBI. It includes 2 obstruction charges. This relates to an allegation contained in this indictment that Donald Trump ordered 2 of his employees to delete the security camera video at Mar-a-Lago to prevent it from getting into the hands of the special counsel. The other charge that's been added here in this superseding indictment has to do with retention of national defense information. This specifically has to do with the former president showing war plans involving Iran to individuals who did not have the proper security clearances. All 3 of these very serious charges on top of the 37 counts which have already been brought against Donald Trump. And as you know, Mike, this particular case will get underway, scheduled to get underway in Fort Pierce, Florida in May of next year.
John, what has Trump's reaction been to this updated indictment, and what has the reaction been from his fellow Republican lawmakers?
Mike, what we saw from the former president, 2 interviews that he did, one with Breitbart, the other with Fox News. He called this ridiculous, the new charges. He called it harassment from the Department of Justice. He called it a witch hunt. In addition to that, the reaction that we've seen from House Republicans, it's as if they're reading from a playbook. They're very critical of the Department of Justice, very supportive of the former president. But we don't see that same type of reaction at all, Mike, coming from Senate Republicans. They've remained largely silent.
So what's the latest concerning separate federal charges that could possibly soon be leveled against Trump over his efforts to undo the 2020 election loss?
Well, that grand jury continues meeting right here in Washington, D.C. They met yesterday, and no indictment forthcoming from that grand jury. However, also yesterday, Donald Trump's lawyers met with federal prosecutors trying to convince them not to bring an indictment concerning this particular matter. And Donald Trump indicating that there was some progress made, but no similar statement coming from federal prosecutors. The next time this grand jury meets, Mike, will be Tuesday of next week, which means there could be an indictment forthcoming as early as Tuesday. Keep in mind that the former president received a target letter from the Department of Justice. That was almost 2 full weeks ago, but that would be an indication that an indictment would likely be forthcoming within the next few weeks. So next week seems like a prime time in which we could see further indictments against the former president.
And John, finally, it's been a few days now since Hunter Biden's plea deal fell apart in a Delaware courtroom. Any reaction yet from President Biden?
No reaction. You're right. It was Wednesday of this week. It's been an extremely busy news week, but it was Wednesday of this week that Hunter Biden was in a federal courtroom in Wilmington, Delaware. As you point out, his plea deal fell apart. But since Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no comments specifically from President Joe Biden about his son, Hunter Biden. No comments specifically from the First Lady, Jill Biden, regarding the legal problems concerning their son, Hunter. And he has also not made himself, he being President Trump, he's also not made himself available for any questions from reporters who wish to ask him his reaction to the issues concerning his son.
And I'm sure you'd like to ask those questions. John Decker, our White House correspondent, thanks so much for joining us this evening.